Hello YouTube, I recently started collecting pin badges and I thought you might want to have a quick look at my collection. I'm mainly collecting badges that are sort of nostalgic to me and remind me of my childhood. This is just my starter collection, so I'll add to this and then I'll post another video in the future. Okay, so first up on the top row we've got the Magic Roundabout, Mr. McHenry, Mr. Rusty, Zebedee, Dylan, Florence, Ermintrude, Brian and Dougal. Next row we've got Bod. Do you remember him? Then we got Charlie Says Meow. Then Jamie and the Magic Torch with the dog Wordsworth. Next is Evil Edna from Will-O-the-Wisp. Then we got Chaz and Morph from Take Heart with Tony Hart. Now it's time for a look in the gallery. Then we got Burke from the Trapdoor. You can just see Boney there as well. Then Paddington Bear with his jar of marmalade in his suitcase. Then we got Bungle and Zippy from Rainbow. I want to get George the Bear at some point. On the next row we've got the Pink Panther. Meet the Pink Panther, the Rinky-Dink Panther. With Inspector Clouseau, 2 examples of him. And then also from the same Pink Panther show there's the aardvark. And also the ant that goes with the aardvark. This one was really hard to find. Next up I've got a solitary Smurf. I'll probably get some more Smurfs at some point. Next there's a group badge with Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Eeyore and Piglet. And then we've got Owl. On the next row we've got Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble together as a badge. And then we've got Fred and Wilma Flintstone separately. And we've got Barney and Betty Rubble separately. I've also got Bam Bam Rubble and Pebbles Flintstone. I don't know why they had to be so much bigger than the other ones. Also from the Flintstones we've got Dino and also this guy called the Great Gazoo, who's like an alien scientist. Next up Danger Mouse and Penfold, of course, and then a separate Danger Mouse and a bomb as well. Then we got Asterix, Obelix and Dogmatics. On the next row we got Top Cat, and then we've got Captain Caveman. Captain Caveman! Then we've got Hong Kong Phooey. Next we've got Yogi Bear and Boo Boo. Then we got Count Duckula, the vampire duck, and I'd like to get Nanny at some point as well. Master Ducky Poos! Then we got Batfink. Next there's Inspector Gadget with Penny and Brains. There's another badge that you can get with Inspector Gadget with a sort of helicopter coming out the top of his hat. Then Banana Man in the banana car. Next there's Tintin and Snowy, the Wire Fox Terrier. On the next row I've got this group badge of all Looney Tunes characters. Then I got a separate badge of Bugs Bunny. What's up, Doc? Then a separate Daffy Duck. Then a separate Porky Pig. I need to get Elmer Fudd at some point because I haven't got him yet. Then Taz the Tasmanian Devil. Then we got Sylvester the Cat. And of course Tweety Pie. Next we've got Foghorn Leghorn. It's quite hard to find all of these just in a kind of plain typical position. Then there's Wile E. Coyote. I could only get him with a little sign. Then we've got Roadrunner. Next there's a little Bugs Bunny head, which just came in with a load of badges, so I thought I'd keep it. Then we've got Pepe Le Pew and Woody Woodpecker. Then I bought a few badges that I've got from books that I remember as a kid. So these are from the Frog and Toad books. Got Frog and Toad in a sledge, then Frog and Toad in a boat, and Frog and Toad in bed. Next we've got the lowly worm in his apple car from The Busy World of Richard Scarry. Then we've got Cat in the Hat from Dr. Seuss. And also the next badge is Thing 1 and Thing 2. I'd like to get the Lorax at some point too. Then we've got Speedy Gonzales from Looney Tunes again. And we've got Marvin the Martian and Yosemite Sam. Next up we've got Dennis the Menace. I'd quite like to get the really old version of Dennis the Menace at some point as well. Then we've got Plug from Bash Street Kids. And we've got Algernon John Cringeworthy, the teacher from Bash Street Kids as well. Then we've got Hobbs. I still need Calvin to go with Hobbs. Next from Peanuts, obviously we've got Snoopy. I'd like to get Woodstock at some point. Then we've got Charlie Brown. We've got Linus. Then there's Sally Brown. And also there's Lucy Von Pelt. There are other Peanuts characters that I'd like to get at some point. Next we have Garfield, Odie, Nermal and Pookie as a group badge. Then I have a separate Garfield badge, and then above him there's a Heathcliff badge, I'd like to get a Henry's Cat badge at some point as well. Next up, there's a Nasher to go with the Dennis the Menace, and below that there's Rhubarb and Custard. Then there's the cartoon version of Samantha from Bewitched. She used to wiggle her nose, remember? Then there's Popeye. I want to get a Bluto at some point. Next, in the sort of book section, we've got the Very Hungry Caterpillar with a strawberry with a hole in it. Then I've got some Disney badges, Goofy with Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse. And then we've got Daisy Duck and Minnie Mouse. And then there's a separate Goofy and there's a separate Pluto as well. Next, from Fraggle Rock, we've got Red, Wembley, Booba, Moki and Gobo. I'll look out for Doozers and Gorg separately. Next, there's Bert from Sesame Street. I still need Ernie. Then there's Elmo and Cookie Monster, and there's loads of other Sesame Street badges I'd like to get. Next, there's a Land Before Time badge with Spike, Sarah, Littlefoot and Ducky on it. Then a Mr. Men, Mr. Happy badge. Then we've got Tom and Jerry, and next to them we've got Spike. I used to like Spike just as much as I used to like Tom and Jerry, if not more. Then we've got Dick Dastardly and Muttley from Wacky Racers, and I've got a separate badge with them together. Next I've got a badge with the main Scooby-Doo gang, so you've got Shaggy, Scooby-Doo, Fred Jones, Velma Dinkley and Daphne Blake. I've also got a badge with them in the Mystery Machine. And down the bottom of my drawer, I've got Thundercats. I've got the Thundercats logo. Then there's obviously Lion-O, Tigra, Chitara and Panthro. I've also got the Thundercats sign. And then next we've got He-Man and Skeletor. And then one of my favourite characters from He-Man is Orko. Then we've got a random Droopy badge here. I'll probably reposition him at some point. And then we've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Raphael and Donatello. So most of the badges from that first drawer are from the 80s or some are even earlier. That's why they're the most kind of nostalgic for me. This second drawer are mainly 90s badges, but there are some earlier ones in here as well. So the first badge in drawer number 2 is this South Park badge where you've got the main characters in a little square. Then I do have 2 sets of badges that look similar to each other, but this top row, they're the older badges with Chef, Cartman, Kyle, Stan and Kenny. Then we've got this South Park badge with the name underneath it. These are the badges that look similar, but these are newer versions and they don't have the acrylic bubbles over the top. I think I prefer the newer versions. Then you've got Pinky and the Brain and Pinky and the Brain together. Then Ren and Stimpy, Ren Hoek and Stimpson J Cat. Then you've got Beavis and Butthead, just as heads. Then you've got them together on a sofa. And then there's 2 more Beavis and Butthead badges, one with them going, ha ha, yeah, and are you threatening me? Then 2 versions of Cat Dog, and then you've got Cow and Chicken. Then another one of my favourite cartoons, Courage the Cowardly Dog, couple of round badges there, and then there's 4 separate Courage the Cowardly Dog badges there as well. Next we've got Patrick Star and SpongeBob SquarePants. Then obviously we've got Gary the Snail. Again, there are loads more SpongeBob SquarePants characters that I'd like to get. Then we've got Real Monsters with Oblina and also Ickis. And then Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. I've also left a space here for more Rocco's Modern Life badges. Next we have Rugrats. So you've got Chucky, Angelica and Tommy all on one badge together. And then we've got Tommy, Chucky and Angelica separately. Next up is Family Guy with Peter and Lois Griffin, Meg, Chris and Stewie and Brian the dog. And then Brian, Peter and Stewie separately. Then we've got the L.O. Worm from Labyrinth. Next we've got Futurama with Fry, Bender and Leela all on one badge. Then we've got Leela, Bender and Nibbler separately. Then also Dr. Zoidberg and Fry separately as well. Next we've got Ecto-1, the original Cadillac ambulance car from Ghostbusters. We've got the Ghostbusters sign, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Slimer. And above Slimer we've got E.T. the extraterrestrial. I've also got the DeLorean time machine from Back to the Future. Then we've got Gizmo the Mogwai from Gremlins. I want to get Stripe as well at some point. Then we've got Ghoulie from the movie Ghoulies. And then this plant reminded me of Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. Next we have Homer and Marge from The Simpsons. And then we've got 3 different versions of Bart Simpson with a skateboard. Then we've got Lisa and Maggie. I've also got Ralph Wiggum. And on the sofa there's Abe Simpson and Jasper Beardsley. There's loads of Simpsons badges I could get. Next we've got Woody and Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. And then we've got Rex and the alien with 3 eyes. Then there's Ham, the pig. And I also bought Mr. Potato Head, which wasn't in the same set, but I got him anyway. Then we got Wallace, Gromit and Shaun the Sheep. Then there's Wall-E, the tracked robot. I'd like to get a Johnny 5 at some point too. Next from Bob's Burgers, we've got Bob, Linda, Jean, Tina and Louise Belcher. Then Super Mario, I'd like to get Yoshi at some point too. Then Sonic the Hedgehog and also Earthworm Jim. Those are all computer game characters. Next I've got this mole, but I can't remember his name, he's just really familiar to me. Then I've got this kind of random sloth. Then we've got the Fido Dido 7-Up guy from the adverts. Next there's Bertie Bassett from the Licorice All Sorts. Next we've got a Minion from Despicable Me. Then we got Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc. and I'd like to get Scully at some point. The next badge is Heimlich from Bug's Life and I need more characters from that and also from Ants. I've got a few Garbage Pail Kid badges, so like this one Adam Bomb. And then we've got Grim Jim, Boney Joni and Boney Tony. I'd like to get more of those as well at some point. This is Ratfink. And then we've got a sort of random cute skeleton guy. And then these are My Pet Monster badges. And I like these because they've got chains on them. So there's 2 versions. The bottom one's better because it's stronger colours and it's also got an orange chain. Finally, we've got Mr. Bean and Teddy. Oh, Teddy. Anyway, I hope this has taken some of you on a nice nostalgic journey, especially if you grew up in the 80s like I did. I've got a huge list of other badges that I'd like to get, it's just whether I can find them or not. Hit subscribe to see anything that I post up in the future. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next video.